young men and young women who are creating churches that are very non-traditional. I want a church that's going to reach out to those in the neighborhood.
Who did this to you on the Sabbath? The best thing that could happen to you is that religious folks kick you out.
Hey, we didn't talk about this thing called the emerging church.
Okay.
There's this whole new phenomena in America today of young men and young women. They're mostly young men and young women who are creating churches that are very non-traditional. And there are so many variants of this that they're calling the whole thing the emerging church. But it isn't one thing, it's many, many things. My son is doing one of these emerging church things.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's out there in Cincinnati. He moved out to Cincinnati. I didn't mind him going out, but he took my grandchildren with him.
Oh.
And he's moved into this slum area. There's no other word to describe it. I mean, they go to bed at night, you can hear gunshots going on the streets.
Well, you're the one who led him that direction.
Well, he's out there, and...
You told him to care about the poor.
Yeah, that's right.
See where that gets you?
See? But he and a friend, they bought this boarded-up church across the street from where he lives. And I think they got it for like $20,000. They took all the pews out, and they got these tables in there. And on Monday nights, he would never call it church. There's about 40 to 50 people from the neighborhood that come in for a meal. And they play games, and they talk to each other, and they make friends with each other. They have a good time with each other. And then he gives a little talk at the end. And all week long, he's taking care of them, going to take this girl who gets raped to the hospital, going to get this guy out of jail, trying to find this old lady a job, just working with these people. And they're saying, look, we don't like the way the church has been operating, that the church to a large degree has become an institution that uses up all of its energies to perpetuate itself. I want a church that's going to reach out to those in the neighborhood. He says it well. I use his line. The church is the only club in the world that should exist for the benefit of its non-members.
Ooh.
That's a good line.
It is.
Always we're asking, what is the church going to do for its members? How's it going to help the membership? No, the task of the church is to equip the members to minister to those outside the church. Got that?
I got it.
That's part of the emerging church. Brian McLaren, with whom I wrote a book called Adventures in Missing the Point, is very much in this emerging church movement. And they just won't be bound by the old rules and regulations of a traditional Christianity, that's all.
What do you think the main point we're missing? What are some of the points we're missing in your...
We were talking about the gay issue a moment ago. I would say that's one of the points we're missing. We've made this into a major issue in the church, and we missed the point that God wants these people in the church. He wants them to come in. He wants them to be welcomed. He wants them to be loved. He wants them to be members. He wants them to be part of that fellowship. We missed the point that Jesus went after those who the religious establishment had rejected. Is there any question about that? I mean, who was it that Jesus went after? He went after those that the religious establishment rejected. The question is, who are the religious establishment rejecting in today's world? Who are they? Because they're the people that Jesus would go after. And if you don't understand that, you have, as Brian McLaren says, missed the point of what the church ought to be about.
In John chapter 9, I love this, where it talks about people getting kicked out by the church or the religious folks. In John chapter 9, when Jesus healed that blind guy, and he said, and Jesus stomped all over the Sabbath that day. He just didn't break one Sabbath rule. He broke about 3 or 4 because he spat in the dirt and that was unclean. And then he took mud pie and made his eye. And then he told him to walk to the pool of Siloam. And that was too far.
On the Sabbath?
On the Sabbath to walk, right?
And he wasn't supposed to take a bath on the Sabbath anyway.
That was the other one. Did we already talk about this?
No, we didn't.
Okay. And he, I was reading. It was so interesting because the guy comes back. He's wide-eyed with sight, and everybody's seen him for 30-odd years sitting there blind, and they say, who did this, and he gets called before the elders of the church, which I call the church, but it was a synagogue, the entire board of the Southern Baptist Convention was there, and they said, "Who did this to you on the Sabbath?" That was their big deal. Who did it on the Sabbath? And he goes, "I don't know. I barely got a glimpse of him." I mean, he didn't even see Jesus.
Yeah.
Because he didn't get his sight till he got back from the pool. And so they bring his parents in, and their parents are worried they're going to get kicked out. And so they say, "He's a full-grown man. Ask him. We don't know. We know he's blind from birth. We don't know how he got his sight." And so then finally the guy gets so frustrated. He says, "What, you want to become his disciple too?" And they say, "Get out of here. Kick him out." Okay. The next verse says, and I love this. It jumped out at me. I rarely have anything jump out at me like this did. "And when Jesus heard, he came to him." When Jesus heard. Jesus may have never come to him had he not been kicked out.
Yeah.
But when Jesus heard, he came to him and he said, "Do you believe on the Son of Man?" He said, "Oh, sir, show him to me that I can believe." He said, "You're looking at him." And he knelt and worshiped him right there and got saved right there. All because they kicked him out. The best thing that could happen to you is that religious folks kick you out.
You know, there's this great line in that same story where they are saying, this man is a devil. He says, "Look, I don't know. All I know is this."
Yes.
Yeah. Once I was blind, now I can see.
I know, I can't believe I forgot that part.
Yeah, and that's the
A man with an experience
Yeah.
is never at the mercy of a man with an argument.
Repeat that because it's a
A
very
man
important.
with an experience, you kids listening, a man with an experience is never at the mercy of a man with an argument.
You got it?
When you have, and I tell you what, as you age, it'll be important to know that, because you're going to have to think back on those times when you know God was there, because you're going to hear things, you're going to watch the History Channel, you're going to, which I've been doing lately, and I can shake your faith if you ain't real careful, because they were talking about how the early church was so divided.
It was.
I mean, I thought it was just one message all down through the years, but the early church, they were fighting over, was Peter going to lead the church? Was this guy going to lead the church? And I was thinking, how in the world did we ever get anything right? And do we have anything right? And the only thing you can know for sure is what you have experienced, really. And you're either delusional or it was God.